So the WCQs are happening right now, and there was actually a WCQ for mainland China that just occurred this weekend. Out of the top 8, the top 6 decks were all Fiendsmith Snake Eyes. To give you a good perspective of how oppressive the deck is over there, even though they have a ban list where Ash is hit to 2 and Wanted is hit to 1. So I thought it'd be fun to take a look at the replay to see what they're doing over there. All right, guys, we'll dive right in. So give you guys a bit of context, this tournament only had about 70 participants, and the reason why is because it works slightly different in China, where they had a bunch of smaller regional tournaments that had hundreds of people, and then the top few from those tournaments get invited to this invite-only tournament where the winner goes to Worlds. So it's actually really hard to make Worlds in mainland China. But the top 6 of the top 8 decks were, again, Fiendsmith Snake Eyes, so kind of boring, but the deck was nerfed in the OCG. They had 2 Ash and 1 Wanted. But this is with that ban list. This player's going to open off with the Witch after the Wanted in the draw phase, discarding Ash, add the OSS to send Witch, and then get out the Ash into the Poplar. So similar combo, checking for Maxi, checking for other hand traps. Prevalence of Maxi makes like the mirror match, I think, a lot worse, and you guys are going to see that. I couldn't believe what I was seeing when I saw this match, but it's very, very standard. You're going to go for the tempo here, and then we're going to activate that to go ahead and get the Snake Eyes Daybell Star. Very, very standard lines here, and then they're going to go off and tribute the Snake Eyes Ash plus the Daybell Star, I guess, after linking off into Link Rebo, because that's still not banned in the OCG. Kind of crazy. Then the Poplar comes back. We're going to link these 2 off into Moon of the Closed Heaven, into the Requiem. And you guys are going to see this a lot in the TCG as soon as it does drop in info in about 2 weeks' time. So bring out Fiendsmith Engraver. Now, here's where the synergy really happens with this. So we're going to go off and use Ash plus Poplar to go off into Oak. And then Oak is going to come out and bring back the Poplar or the Ash. And then Poplar's effects and trigger bring back the Snake Eyes Daybell Star. The Fiendsmith Requiem in the graveyard, what it does is it brings itself back as an equipped spell to Fiendsmith Engraver. And then from there, you can actually use something really cool. So this card is a V-Jump promo, and everyone thought it was really bad when it was spoiled. It's a level 4 Dark Spellcaster Tuner monster that requires a Fusion Synchro Xyz or Link monster plus a Spellcaster monster to special summon, but you can actually contact fuse it out by sending those materials from your field to the graveyard, and it says Spellcaster monster card or Link monster card, which means you can actually use the materials while they're treated as equipped spells or continuous spells, but they're still technically monster cards. So this is really cool. Basically what they do is they send off the Requiem plus the Snake Eyes Daybell Star to summon this out. Then they can use Engraver 6 plus the 4 as a tuner to make Baron de Fleur. So it's really, really kind of degenerate how this random card that everyone thought was bad is now a mainstay staple in every Fiendsmith Snake Eyes deck overseas, because you can just go into Baron quite easily. Then they're going to go off into the Lurie combo by adding the Tractus, so Tractus into Lurie, and then bring back the Lurie, use Ash plus the Lurie to go off into the Fiendsmith Sequentia, use the effect to shuffle back 2 materials to fuse into the Lacrimosa. Lacrimosa allows you to target a graveyard, Fiendsmith, or in your banished actually as well. Bring that back, spamming the board. Then we're gonna start link climbing here, because that's just like crazy amount of bodies for free. And we haven't even used the Fiendsmith Engraver's effect in the graveyard to bring itself back either. They're just very, very crazy, showing off how broken this engine is. Gonna go Princess, and then the Sequentia comes back as well, just like the Requiem, so you can use that for free for Oak's effect to bring out the Snake Eyes, the Bellstar Dragon, or the Flamberge Dragon rather. And then just gonna go into Hita here, and then trigger Flamberge, so we get our monsters back on the board, bring back the Flamberge, and then use the effect to put something in the scale. I guess we're going to we'll link off, and then we're going to go off into IP. Ambler Whale is surprising. One of the commentators actually mentioned that it's not a card you really see, but this player chose to use it. And now they're going to use Graveyard effect of the Engraver to bring itself back, go into IP this way, and then I believe we can just go off and link into Appaloosa. I don't know why they did it for 3. Honestly, I would have thought that 2 Matt Apple plus the Ambler Wheel might have been a little better, but I guess they want to go for the riskier play. Just going to shuffle back the 1 of Wanted to draw a card as well. Yeah, Ambler Wheel I think would have been nicer with the Appaloosa, not in the extra deck column. I guess I don't play Relinquished Anima, but still, you know, just in case of like triple attack this talent if they actually steal the Appaloosa. So they pass here. Opponent draws for turn, activates Bonfire in the main phase. That's going to resolve, and then they're going to add Poplar, use the effect to try and special summon it out. And then they chain with Droll. So they had Droll behind this entire board, and of course having the Baron plus the Appaloosa makes it so nothing can really be interacted with. They have an Ash for the Wanted as well. So their full setup was crazy. This is the type of end board they have to put up with in the OCG, in addition to cards like Maxi. So they do actually play Relinquished Anima, which does kind of bait out the Appaloosa here, but I don't think it's enough. Gonna bring back the Poplar as well, and then Apple's gonna negate the Anima there. So not much interaction here, honestly. Then they're gonna normal summon out the Lurie. So Lurie being hard drawn is also not very, very good, especially for a player going second. The Big Brick And then I imagine the field spell is going to get chained, or Flamberge, one or the other. Yeah, Flamberge gets chained to summon back their Poplars just so they get it out of the zone. And then they're debating using the IP here just to get rid of the Literary so you can't go off into the Fiendsmith stuff. Bear in mind that we are under Droll as well, so just a lot of different blanket effects already on the board. The Lure gets banished, and then you resolve Flamberge. These guys come back and add back an Ash to their hand, so they have follow-up, even though they can't add from deck. And then the player on the left just scoops because, yeah, not much you can do. So very, very straightforward. Fiendsmith, Snake Eye mirror match. Unfortunately, not very interactive. Also, I have to say the production quality for the OCG here, it was really, really nice for what China did. They had a Japanese Konami representative, I believe, show up as well. And they did announce that there's a YCS China coming out in Shanghai as well at the tail end of the year. I think close to December, if I'm not mistaken, or November. So the player on the left goes first. Bonfire for Ash. Normal summon Ash, uses the effect. And the player on the right actually has Imperm in their hand, but surprisingly, they decided not to use it. I think because they had Maxi, so they wanted to resolve the Maxi, but I still think you get punished for the Ash. So the player on the left had the Ash for the Maxi, and now it's like the Imperm is a lot worse. So personally, I think probably just Imperming the Ash was a lot better there, but maybe they really didn't have any starters, so they had to bank on the Maxi resolving to draw a starter. It would make sense. So same combo here. Just gonna link off the Poplar to go off into the Link Karibo, and then bring out the Snake Eye Dealbuster, place the Poplar back, go off and do the Moon of the Closed Heaven into Requiem. Just insane combo. The Fiendsmith stuff is just so crazy. And not a lot of hand traps interact with it very favorably. It's like they can threaten Appaloosa, you know, like you have to nib there, but then they have the Snake Eye stuff. You can't Veiler or Mourner really easily because they can still bring stuff back from the graveyard and fuse with Tractus. There's just a lot of layers. So now we're going to see the late Imperm being dropped on the Oak, which doesn't really do much, I think. Potentially prevent the Flamberge from coming out, but we do have Princess to go off into the Ash and then use the Ash or the Oak later. But that would just mean IP doesn't get put in the scale, so maybe it's just on the field instead. And then they're going to chain... Oh yeah, Link Karibo is there, of course. You just chain Link Karibo, so the Imperm has nothing. And we're going to go to Chorizo. You guys saw what happened there, just using the monsters in the Spell and Trap zone. So for free, you basically get a tuner for free, and then you go off in the Baron with the Engraver. The math works out where you have exactly enough materials to still go off into your end board and have the Baron Deploy. So it's just really nutty. Then we're going to go Luri off of the Tractus, bring it back as an extender, link off Link Karibo plus the Luri to go off into Sequentia, which requires a Light Fiend monster plus any other monster. Shuffle back the 2 Light Fiends to go into Lacrimosa, which will target the Fiendsmith Engraver to bring itself back. And the player on the right just has like 0 interaction. The Ash taking care of the Maxi and the Imperm being dropped a little late. I think if the Imperm was dropped earlier, there's a chance that the player on the left actually just passed. We're going to drop the Rise to full height. So this is an interesting tech that's been in a lot of different Snake Eye decks, just because you can send it off Beatrice. And this card says you can banish her from the graveyard to target a monster. Your opponent has to attack and can only attack that monster for the rest of the turn. So this is really good against like Tenpai, where Tenpai tries to OTK you. If you have IP Masquerena, you can go effect of IP Masquerena, chain Rise to full height, and then if the monster is gone from the field, your opponent just can't attack, period. So some players are main decking this because it's also okay in the Snake Eye mirror match where you just skip their battle phase, so you guarantee you have another turn on your follow-up, and if they can't kill you, you know, you're gonna kill them on the crackback, right? So just really, really relevant there. But yeah, Rise to full height is part of the reason why Tenpai is just like not that great when you do go second, because you never know. If you don't have enough hand traps to deny the Beatrice, then the Rise gets sent to the graveyard, and it's very hard to win without your battle phase, obviously. Princess comes back, so we're gonna go for Oak. So like we mentioned earlier, where there's no Flamberge because of that Imperm and being forced to tribute the Oak, but this is still fine because we're just gonna go off into Flamberge anyways. A little bit awkward here, so the player's probably thinking it out because it's not like a standard line. And then I would imagine Oak, I think, would either have to send the field spell or just send one of the bodies on the board. So they do end up sending the Beatrice, and then they go off into the Flamberge Dragon. And then Princess and Flamberge, and also have the Engraver still in the graveyard. So that's definitely be played. So they're going to burn for 1200 with the Lacrimosa effect. That's when it's in the graveyard. You can shuffle back a Light Fiend as a cost to burn your opponent for 1200. So that's going to be very relevant in the TCG, where time is like a huge factor. In the OCG, their time rules are still like 5 turns, I believe. So it's not like the end of the phase shenanigans. Now we're going to trigger Flamberge, and we also brought back the Chorizo into the Spell Trap zone, so it's just very, very nice to have the Chorizo there. I believe it has another effect where it denies an attack, so potentially bring that back off of Flamberge or the field spell later on is relevant. Now we're just going to get the Engraver back, thanks to its effect in the graveyard. Going to Link Climb even more, just bring out the IP Masquerena, this time on the field, because we already burned that Flamberge interaction. And then they're going to pass. Kind of awkward, they have the Poplar just chilling there. Honestly, if they sent the field spell, They technically could have had another body to Link 2, but I don't think there are any other Link 2s besides SP. And obviously SP is just not that good. But Sunlight Wolf did add back a monster as well. I believe it added back a fire monster. So Sunlight Wolf, they typically use it with Beatrice because you can dump Ash and then add back the Ash later on. So that's a nice interaction with Beatrice. This player's going to go for Tractus into Luri. Luri's going to come out, and then it's not like the best board on the left there, but again, bear in mind that the player on the right did burn 2 cards, being the Imperm and the Maxi, so now they only have 3 cards left in hand. So now they are going to see a Link Karibo come out, tripping the Poplar, and then Flamberge is going to come back. So that's actually really smart how they set that up, because when Flamberge is on the field, they haven't triggered the field spell yet, so upon the summon, they can actually use the field spell to bring back the Flamberge. Flamberge can then use its effect as Disruption or to bring back the Chorozo. But they are going to go SP Banish. And then they are going to chain the effect of the Sunlight Wolf to add back some Oak for follow-up. So Sunlight Wolf being in the extra column with the IP is actually really nice. So a really nice play. I actually like how he ended on that end board despite like that oddly timed Imperm. But we are going to see a Baron negating the Ash, and then a Bonfire here in Desperation is going to get ashed. So that's going to be it. That was the last of the interaction. I don't think it would have been enough anyways because SP just vanishes, and he still had the Rise of Full Height as well. So pretty one-sided again, surprisingly. Yeah, not the most super interactive gameplay. All right, now we're going to dive into game 3 where the player on the right is starting, and we're going to see a preemptively drop Maxi, which is surprising. I don't know why. I guess like for Witch, because Witch is an inherent summon, so that does make sense. I'm not sure if it's fully correct, but again, I'm not really skilled with Maxi because we don't really have the opportunity to play that card. But we are going to see the normal summon Ash into the Poplar anyways, so they're going to get a 1-draw off the Maxi. That Maxi did resolve, which is pretty crazy. Bear in mind there are 1 cross out and 2 called buys, 3 Ash, so that's 6 cards to interact with it, but unfortunately we didn't see any. We're going to scale the Oak using the field spell. So this is a lot like how we kind of play into Shifter in the TCG, is the play when you get Maxied is to give your opponent 2 draws, but to make IP Masquerena plus the field spell. So you have Oak, and you kind of just do the SP by summoning back the Oak when your opponent summons a monster. So very similar, but obviously you can see how high impact Maxi is. It stopped the full Snake Eye combo, and basically it dwindled down to an IP plus a field spell with Oak in the field spell zone, which is not very strong if you think about it, right? Like, so we're gonna see a Pancratops hit the table right away. They're gonna use the effect of the field spell to try and summon back the Oak, but this can actually trade with the field spell, but instead they do have a Cosmic Cyclone. That's gonna be chaining the field spell. Surprising that they settled that in, and a change of heart to take the IP Masquerena. You guys can see like his hand was like insane, and I believe he did have a starter as well to add fuel to the fire. But Cosmic Cyclone is kind of surprising to be sided in going second. I'm not like skill drains at 1. I don't think anyone's really siding it in the Snake Eyes anyways in the OCG, so it's surprising that they decided to bring it in. Then they're going to tribute off the Pancratops to target the back row, just getting rid of that, and that's an Imperm which gets chained. So that would have been a pretty strong board, honestly. Like, it was Imperm plus IP with the field spell. It was not bad, but they do have the original that they actually send. That's insane that they sent the IP off of the Change of Heart, or else they had nothing else to send. And then they're gonna bring out the full combo here. There's nothing stopping it. No hand traps, literally. I think in the other player's hand he had like a, was it like a Fiendsmith Engraver plus like a Snake Eyes Dayball Star, I think, a bit of bricks. But this is just like the full combo. You can see how a Maxi literally just turned this game around. Because if there was no Maxi, then the player on the right was just doing the same board that we saw in Game 1 and Game 2 with the Baron de Fleur, the full Appaloosa, the IP, the Flamberge, and there's just like barely, there's just barely any chance of winning from that, honestly. Your hand, even if it's like perfectly sculpted, it's just impossible to win from that. So very, very crazy how Maxi is a problematic card, and I'm glad we don't have it. And the handshake is just offered there because he knows it's already game. So this player does end up going to the World Championship. And yeah, you guys can kind of see what the heck happened in the OCG. I thought I wanted to demonstrate that because we've never really seen a live stream from China. China just got official TCG or OCG support rather in the past 4 years. And a couple of years of that was during COVID. So they didn't really have any tournament like this. But this is kind of cool. What do you guys think about the OCG and about this tournament? I mean, it looks really, really foul thanks to Maxi and the OCG being degenerate. Guys, let me know what you think in the comments. Smash that like button if you haven't already. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.